Let me tell you something that changed my life. One day, my mentor looked me in the eye and said, "Jim, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better." And I'll be honest with you, that hit me like a freight train. Because here's the truth. Most people spend their lives hoping the world will change, that the job will get easier, that the economy will turn around, that people will finally appreciate their effort. But the real breakthrough, it doesn't come when life gets easier. It comes when you get stronger, sharper, wiser. You see, the secret is not in waiting for the storms to pass. The secret is in learning how to sail when the winds are rough. Success doesn't respond to hope. It responds to skill. It doesn't answer to complaints. It answers to competence. It doesn't come to the person who wishes. It comes to the one who works. So I ask you today, are you spending your energy hoping things change? Or are you spending your energy becoming the kind of person who can handle anything? This message is not for the faint-hearted. It's for the builder, the learners, the doers. If you're ready to stop waiting and start growing, then stay with me, because what comes next might just be the shift you've been waiting for. Life is designed to challenge you, not pamper you. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Life is not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to hand it all over. It's not supposed to knock on your door and say, "Here, everything you ever wanted." No, life is not your butler. It's your coach. And coaches don't pamper, coaches push. Now, I didn't always know that. When I was young, I used to wish it was easier. I used to look around and say, why does everything feel uphill? But then, I got the message, and I hope you get it tonight. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Let me tell you what challenges are. Challenges are not walls. They're mirrors. They show you what you're made of. Life says, here's a delay. What'll you do? Here's some pressure. How'll you react? Here's a disappointment. Will you grow bitter or better? And most people unfortunately complain. They blame. They retreat. They say it's not fair, but I say of course it's not fair. That's the whole point. Fair doesn't make you strong. Struggle does. Fair doesn't teach you patience. Difficulty does. Fair doesn't demand growth, but life does. Now look, if you remove the challenge, you remove the lesson. If you remove the obstacle, you remove the opportunity. That mountain in front of you, it's not punishment. It's proof. Proof that there's something in you that's ready to climb. Don't resent the mountain. Thank it. Because on the other side of that climb is a version of you that you've never met before. Let me give you the truth. If life were easy, you'd be bored. You'd be soft. You'd have no stories, no strength, no victory. You don't build muscle lifting feathers. You don't build character, avoiding fire. And you don't build a life worth living by hiding from discomfort. You want the good news? Life will give you the exact challenge you need to become the person you're meant to be. Now that's either going to excite you or intimidate you. And the one you choose will shape your future. Let me ask you, when was the last time you said this is hard and smiled? You ever done that? That's power. That's when the game changes. Because now you're not the victim. Now you're the player. Now you're not waiting for mercy. You're building mastery. The challenge isn't in the way. It is the way. So here's the philosophy. Don't ask for fewer problems. Ask for more wisdom. Don't beg for easy days. Work for greater discipline. Don't seek less pressure. Grow the shoulders that can carry more. And here's what happens. When you get better, everything else gets lighter. Not because the load changed, but because you did. Let me close with this. You weren't made to be pampered. You weren't made to be sheltered. You were made to grow, to stand tall, to learn, to lead. So next time life gets tough, don't say, why me? Say, try me. Because that's when life knows you're ready. Complaining is a poverty habit. Trade it for learning. Let's have an honest talk tonight about one of the most costly habits you can ever develop. And no, it's not overspending. It's not overeating. It's not even procrastinating, though that's a close runner-up. No, the habit I'm talking about is complaining. Complaining is the language of poverty, mental poverty, emotional poverty, spiritual poverty, and eventually financial poverty. Now don't get me wrong, we all get frustrated. We all get disappointed. We all have those moments where we throw our hands in the air and say, come on, why is everything so difficult? But here's the difference, friend. The successful might visit frustration, but they never live there. You see, there's a line between letting out a sigh and building a life around excuses. Some folks have made complaining their full-time job. No resume, no income. But boy, do they show up every day, right on time. Let me give you the formula. When something happens and you complain, you lose twice. Once in the moment, and once in the lesson you missed. See, every difficulty has two parts. The problem and the wisdom, and complaining blocks the wisdom. When your mouth is full of grumbling, your mind is closed to growth. Let me tell you what I learned early. The person who complains the most learns the least. Why? Because they're focused on what happened, instead of asking, what can I learn from this? Listen, life's gonna give you dirt, but it's your choice whether you plant something in it, or just roll around in it, feeling sorry for yourself. You ever hear someone say, it's always something? You know those people. Maybe you've been that person. It's too hot, it's too cold, they want more money, but complain when they get more responsibility. Folks, let me tell you, that's not a tough life, that's a weak mindset. If you want life to get better, you've got to graduate out of blame and enroll in personal responsibility. Now here's the key. Every time you feel like complaining, pause and replace it with curiosity. Ask, what is this trying to teach me? What can I improve next time? What does this reveal about my habits, my thinking, my preparation? Because complaining never improves a situation, but learning makes sure you handle it better next time. Let me say it plain. Winners are learners. Losers are lingers. Winners learn from every loss. Losers just linger in it. They rehash it, repost it, replay it. Some people spend years complaining about a bad month. That's not just poor thinking. That's a poverty pattern. Break it tonight. Here's what I want you to do. Start keeping a learning journal, not a complaint diary. Write down what happened, how you reacted, what you learned, and what you'll do better next time. And soon life won't feel like it's happening to you. It'll feel like it's happening for you. Because it always was. You just couldn't see it through the fog of your own complaints. Let me wrap this one up with a challenge. For the next 7 days, no complaining, not about the weather, not about your boss, not about traffic, not even about your aches and pains. Trade every complaint for a lesson, and watch your mindset shift, your energy rise, your progress explode, because success is allergic to complainers, but it loves a student of life. So remember, complaining is a poverty habit. Trade it, break it, break it, break it, and instead rise up with the mindset of a learner, because when you stop complaining, you start growing, and when you start growing, life opens up in ways you never imagined. The magic of skill. You can always get better. Let's talk tonight about one of the greatest gifts you've ever been given. And no, it's not talent. It's not money. It's not luck. It's this, the ability to get better. That's right. You can get better at anything, anytime. No permission needed. No gatekeeper required. And I call that magic. You see, the difference between where you are right now and where you want to be isn't some miracle. It's not fate. It's not waiting on the economy or the next election. It's skill. And the best part, skill is learnable. You weren't born knowing how to speak, or lead, or sell, or solve problems. You learned that, and what you've learned, you can expand. What you don't know, you can pursue. And what you're weak at, you can strengthen. Now some people say, well, I'm just not good at that. Listen, that's not a truth. That's a story. Change the story, and you'll change the result. You're not good, you're just not practiced. And practice, my friend, makes progress. Progress makes confidence, and confidence builds success. Let me give it to you straight. Skill turns average into exceptional. Skill turns potential into profit. Skill takes a broke kid from Idaho, like me, and puts him on stages around the world. I didn't wish for better results. I worked on better skills. Now let's get practical. Want to make more money? Learn a better skill. Want to lead your team better? Learn communication. Want to stop losing to your own excuses? Build discipline as a skill. You see, success is not an event. It's a compounding effect, built by the person who says, I'll read the book, I'll take the course, I'll stay up late, I'll show up early, I'll stretch myself. That's how skill is built. Not overnight, but daily. Now don't get me wrong, talent is nice, but talent without skill is a wasted seed. Talent is potential. But skill is power in motion. It's the person who practiced the piano that fills the concert hall, not just the one who was born gifted. So let me say it again. Skill is the great equalizer. It doesn't care where you started. It doesn't care who doubted you. It doesn't even care how many times you failed. Skill says, if you show up, I'll reward you. Now here's the question. What skill are you developing right now? Not thinking about, not planning to, not wishing for. What are you working on today that will make you more valuable tomorrow? Because here's the truth. Money follows value. Value follows skill. And skill follows effort. If you want more out of life, you've got to put more into yourself. So start where you are. Start small, but start now. If you only improve one skill a year, public speaking, sales, leadership, time management, in 5 years you'll be 5 times more valuable. And if you're 5 times more valuable, you don't just earn more, you attract more. You don't beg for opportunity. It finds you. Let me close this one out. Skill is the bridge from wishing to winning. It's the path from where you are to where you want to go. And the best part? It's available to anyone, including you. So pick a skill, work it, sharpen it, build it, stack it, because as you get better, everything around you gets better too. And that's the magic. Success is not easier for others. They're just better at something. You ever look at someone successful and think, man must be nice. They've got it easier. They must have had a head start. Well, tonight, I've got a little message for you. Success is not easier for other people. They're just better at something. That's it. No mystery, no magic, no secret handshake behind the curtain. They've developed a skill. They've built a mindset. They've practiced a habit. They've made a decision to get better, not bitter. Now don't misunderstand. I know life's not fair. Some people do get a head start. Some have a few more tools in the toolbox. But you know what I've learned? Success isn't about where you start. It's about whether you start. And most people never do. They're too busy comparing, too busy complaining, too busy explaining why it's easier for everybody else. But the truth? Everyone has their own mountain to climb. And here's the key. Some folks just got better boots. Now I'll be the first to tell you, I didn't grow up with much. I was broke at 25. I blamed everything. The government, the company, the economy, the weather, and then one day someone changed my life. He said, Jim, your problem isn't the world. Your problem is you. Who? Now that was hard to hear, but it was the beginning of my transformation. Because once you stop blaming, you start building. Let me tell you what successful people do. They identify the gap and then close it. They figure out what they're missing. A skill, a discipline, a relationship, a resource, and they go to work. They're not sitting around saying, why is it so easy for her? They're saying, what can I learn from her? That's the difference. Let's get real practical. You see someone succeeding in business? They probably learned how to sell. They probably read the books, made the calls, took the hits. You see someone with influence? They probably learned how to speak. They probably practiced until their voice had weight. You see someone with freedom? They probably learned how to manage money. They learned discipline, strategy, delayed gratification. It wasn't easier, it was earned. And let me say something else. Success leaves clues. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to follow the path. Don't envy the man with the mansion. Study his methods. Don't resent the woman with the results. Mirror her routines. Because if you do what they do, you can have what they have. Now let me challenge you tonight. Instead of feeling behind, get busy catching up. Instead of comparing, start preparing. Instead of scrolling through everybody else's highlight reel, open a book, take a class, join a mastermind. Learn the thing that makes the difference. Because success is not reserved, it's rewarded. And it rewards the one who shows up, trains up, and levels up. You say, Jim, I'm not there yet. Good. That means you've got something to build. And when you build it, you'll own it. Because let me tell you, there's something powerful about earning your confidence. Not borrowing it, not faking it, but working for it. Here's the bottom line. Nobody has it easier. They just worked harder, longer, smarter, at something that made them valuable. And the great news is, you can do that too. So starting today, stop saying I wish I had their life, and start saying I'm ready to build mine. Because success isn't easier for them. They're just better at something. Now it's your turn. You don't need fewer problems, you need more capacity. Let me start this one with a truth that might hit a little hard. You don't need fewer problems. What you need is more capacity. Now I know what you're thinking, but Jim, you don't know what I'm dealing with. Listen, everybody's got problems. The rich have them, the poor have them, the strong, the weak. Even the guy smiling on Instagram has problems. He just filters them better. You see, life isn't about escaping problems. It's about outgrowing them. The goal is not to live a problem-free life. That's a fantasy. That's Disneyland. This is real life. And in real life, problems don't stop showing up. You get stronger. The key isn't making life easier. It's making yourself bigger than what you're facing. Let me tell you what changed everything for me. I used to pray, God, please take away my problems. But the problems didn't go away. You know what changed? I did. I stopped praying for less pressure and started training for more resilience. I stopped wishing for calm waters and learned how to sail in the storm. Let me give you a picture. Imagine you've got a bucket and life starts pouring water in. Stress, deadlines, bills, setbacks. You can beg life to stop pouring, or you can get a bigger bucket. Now, which one do you think is more effective? You can't control the water, but you can control the size of your container. That's capacity. That's personal growth. Now let me ask you something straight. Are you growing your capacity or just wishing life would slow down? Because here's what happens when you grow. The same problem that used to stress you out, now you handle it with calm. The same pressure that used to break you, now it builds you. The same crisis that used to knock you down, now you stand taller than it. Why? Because you got bigger. Let's talk about how to grow capacity. Number 1, mental discipline. You've got to train your thoughts like an athlete trains their body. Read, journal, reflect, think, learn. Number 2, emotional maturity. Not everything needs a reaction. Learn to pause, to breathe, to choose your response, not just give it. Number 3, physical endurance. Don't forget the body. Energy fuels clarity. Strength fuels momentum. Take care of your vessel, because life is a marathon, not a sprint. Number 4, spiritual grounding. Know who you are. Know what you believe. Have values you don't compromise, even when the heat is on. See, when you grow all 4, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, you expand the size of your bucket. Now life can pour in the same amount, and you're not drowning, you're thriving. Let me give you the secret. The higher you want to go, the more pressure you've got to be able to handle. And the people at the top, they're not there because life was easier. They're there because they built the muscle to carry more than most people are willing to bear. That's leadership. That's success. That's character. So next time you feel overwhelmed, don't say, "This is too much." Say, "This is showing me where I need to grow." It's not the world that needs to shrink. It's you that needs to expand. And when you do, problems stop looking like mountains and start looking like stepping stones. Let me close with this. Don't ask for lighter burdens. Ask for broader shoulders. Because when you build capacity, life doesn't have to change. You do. And when you change, you can carry more, lead more, do more, be more. That's the magic. That's the mindset. That's the path. Mindset is muscle, and it needs daily reps. Let me say something that might just change how you start tomorrow morning. Your mindset is a muscle, not a mystery, not magic, a muscle. And just like any other muscle, if you don't work it, you lose it. If you don't stretch it, if you don't feed it, if you don't strengthen it every day, it gets lazy. It gets weak. It gets soft. See, the difference between a winner and a worrier is not circumstance. It's conditioning. You condition your mindset the same way you condition your body, with reps, daily reps, mental reps, discipline reps, thought reps. Now some folks say to me, "Jim, I just want to feel more confident." All right, confidence isn't a feeling, it's a result. And the result comes from repetition. Confidence is what happens after you show up over and over, even when you didn't feel like it. You read the book, you kept your promises, you followed through. That's where mindset grows strong. Let me give you something to remember. Negativity is weight. Discipline is a rep. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, rep. Every time you replace "I can't" with "Let's see how I can rep." Every time you speak life into your day instead of doubt, that's a rep. And over time, those reps stack. They build, they compound. And suddenly, you're thinking differently, reacting differently, living differently. Why? Because you've been training. Now let me tell you what most people do. They go to the gym once and wonder why they still look the same. They read one book and wonder why their life didn't change. They say one affirmation and expect their fear to disappear. But this isn't magic, it's muscle. And muscle takes consistency. If you don't build your mind daily, the world will build it for you. And the world will feed it with fear, with excuses, with doubt, with distraction. So you've got to train your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. Let's get practical. You want to build mindset? Here's your gym. 1. Books. They're the weights for your thoughts. 2. Journaling. Reflection is mental stretching. 3. Affirmation. Speak truth until it becomes your instinct. 4. Challenges. Don't avoid resistance. Embrace it. 5. People. Surround yourself with strong minds. Weak minds are contagious. Let me ask you something. How much time do you spend preparing your mind before your day begins? You brush your teeth every day. Great. You comb your hair every day. Excellent. But do you condition your thinking every day? Because your mind is the filter for your entire life. If it's cluttered, everything feels harder. If it's focused, everything gets clearer. Let me give you a tip that changed my life. Start your day with intention, not with reaction. Most people wake up, and the first thing they do, check their phone, and guess what that does? You let the world program your mindset before you do. Don't let the news, the inbox, or the comment section condition your day. You condition it. Wake up and feed your mind something strong. Gratitude, goals, growth. That's a mindset rep. And here's the big idea, friends. Your life will never grow bigger than your mindset. Your relationships, your income, your leadership, your peace, it all rises or falls on the quality of your thinking. Let me wrap this up. You don't get the mindset of a champion by accident. You build it, rep by rep, choice by choice, thought by thought. And one day, you wake up and realize you're not afraid anymore. You're not stuck anymore. You're not doubting yourself every time the wind blows. Why? Because you did the work. You trained the muscle. You built a mindset that can hold up your goals and carry your future. So remember this. Mindset is muscle. And today is arm day. Let's get to work. Be thankful for the struggle. It's building the you that wins. Let me say something tonight that might just flip your thinking upside down. Be thankful for the struggle. Now I know that's not easy. It's not popular. It's not the message we hear on TV or scrolling through social media, but it's truth. And truth doesn't always feel good at first, but it works. See, the struggle isn't in the way, it is the way. It's not the enemy, it's the engine. And if you learn to be grateful for it, to embrace it, to squeeze out every bit of growth from it, you'll wake up one day and realize the struggle was shaping you into someone who could win. Now let me tell you something I learned. Easy times don't build anything worth keeping. It's the hard times that carve character. It's the tough days that develop toughness. It's the challenges that shape champions. You show me a strong person, and I'll show you someone who's been through something. Not someone who avoided it, but someone who went through it and grew through it. And you say, Jim, I don't want the pain. Of course not. Nobody does. But here's the paradox. Pain is part of the price of purpose. No pressure, no diamond. No struggle, no strength, no fire, no refining. You want the rewards? You've got to face the resistance. Let me tell you how most people treat struggle. They run from it. They curse it. They pray it away. But the successful, they thank it. They study it. They leverage it. They say, this isn't here to destroy me. It's here to develop me. You ever go to the gym? That pain in your muscles after a hard workout? That's not a problem. That's progress. That's your body saying, we're building something here. Well, life's the same way. That frustration, that failure, that setback. It hurts, yes, but it's feedback. It's growth happening in real time, if you choose to use it. Here's a new perspective. Next time you're in a tough season, don't just ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this preparing me for? Because life never wastes a struggle. There's always something in it. A lesson, a strength, a turning point. But you have to look for it. You have to mine for it. Because growth doesn't shout, it whispers. And you've got to be quiet enough to hear it through the noise of discomfort. Now hear this. Gratitude in struggle is the beginning of transformation. When you can look at the storm and say, thank you, you're teaching me something. When you can stand in the valley and say, I'm learning things here that I couldn't learn on the mountain. That's when you're becoming someone unstoppable. Not just successful, substantial. Not just rich, resilient. Because anyone can be happy when it's easy. But true strength is forged when it's not. Let me give you a simple formula. Struggle plus reflection equals sign. Strength struggle plus bitterness equals sign stagnation. So the struggle is neutral. It's your response that decides your result. And your response, that's your power. Let me close with this. Be thankful for the struggle. Because it means you're in the game. It means you're alive. It means you haven't settled. It means you're building the you that can carry the dream you say you want. Don't pray it away. Grow through it. Don't resist it, receive it, because on the other side of struggle is the version of you that wins, and that's who we came here to become. The better you get, the better life gets. Let me give you a principle tonight. So simple, so powerful, and so life-changing. If you get it, it will change the way you approach everything. Here it is. The better you get, the better life gets. Not the weather, not the economy, not the company. When you get better, everything around you improves. You say, Jim, I want a better job. Okay, get better skills. You say, Jim, I want better relationships. Great, get better communication. Get better patience. You say, Jim, I want more money. Perfect, get more value. You don't chase more money, you become more valuable. And money follows value. Now most people get this backwards. They say, when the economy gets better, then I'll do more. When my boss gets better, I'll work harder. When people treat me right, I'll show up different. But that's not how it works. You don't wait on the world. the world waits on you, because your results are a reflection of you, not the whole world. You ever clean the windshield of your car? When it's dirty, everything looks distorted. Now let me ask you, did the world get brighter when you clean the glass? No, you just improve the lens. That's what happens when you get better. Life doesn't suddenly become easier. You see clearer, you think sharper, you act wiser, and that changes everything. Let me give you a secret. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. You don't beg for opportunity. You become the person who belongs in the room, and the doors open. You don't demand respect. You live in such a way that people can't help but respect you. You don't wish for abundance. You develop the disciplines that produce it, and that's the shift. So here's the question I want you to ask tonight. How can I get better? Not how can my spouse get better? Not how can my coworkers get better? Not how can my circumstances improve? But how can I grow? Because the better you get, the more capable you are, the more resilient you are, the more attractive you are, mentally, emotionally, professionally, and when you rise, so does the quality of your life. Now let me be clear, this is a process, not an event. You don't become a new person overnight. You chip away, day by day, habit by habit, thought by thought. But oh, the compound effect is incredible. One small improvement in your discipline leads to a change in your routine, which changes your results, which changes your confidence, which changes your direction, which ultimately changes your destiny. So if life is stuck, if you feel like you're on repeat, if you're waiting on a breakthrough, don't just look at what needs to change around you. Look at what needs to grow within you, because you can't have more until you become more. That's not punishment. That's principle. And it's one of the greatest principles of success I've ever learned. Let me close this one out with a challenge. Make this your new motto. I'm gonna get better no matter what. Not just when it's easy, not just when people cheer you on, but when no one's watching, you grow, you read, you reflect, you improve, you sharpen your thinking, you deepen your character, you strengthen your resolve. And here's what happens. One day you look up and your life feels easier. But it's not because life got easier, it's because you got better. And that is the name of the game. Raise your standards, then match them with action. Let me give you one of the greatest turning points in your life. One of the most powerful decisions you'll ever make. Raise your standards. That's right, raise them. Because your standards set the floor of your life, not the ceiling, the floor. You'll never go lower than your standards, but you'll also never go higher than your willingness to live up to them. Now hear me on this, everybody wants more. More success, more health, more love, more income, more peace of mind. But very few are willing to say, this is the new minimum I will accept for myself. That's the real shift. That's the difference between wishing and working, between desire and discipline. Now don't misunderstand me. There's nothing wrong with wanting more, but want is weak without commitment. You don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate. So if you tolerate chaos, you'll live in it. If you tolerate excuses, you'll repeat them. If you tolerate mediocrity, you'll stay stuck in it. But the day you say, enough, this is not who I am anymore, that's when everything starts to change. Let me give you an example. Someone says, I want to get in shape, but they keep eating the same, sleeping the same, skipping workouts. That's not a standard. That's a fantasy. You want to be fit? Make it a standard. I don't skip my health, period. You want to grow your business? Raise the standard. I don't end the day without doing something to move forward. You want better relationships? Raise the standard. I don't speak to people I love with disrespect. Don't just write goals, write rules, personal rules, and live by them. Now here's the second half of the equation. Raise your standards. Yes, but then match them with action. Because standards without action, that's just ego. That's just talk. That's just writing pretty things on a vision board and hoping the universe pays attention. Listen, the universe doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to work. So when you raise the standard, make sure your daily behavior backs it up. You say you're a professional? Show up like one. You say you value your time? Guard it like it matters. You say you want to grow? Then stretch, sweat, sacrifice. That's how you live up to what you say you believe. Now let me tell you what happens when you start holding yourself to higher standards, even when nobody's watching. You walk different, you talk different, you think different. People start to notice. Opportunities start to appear. Life starts matching your new level of seriousness. Not because you got lucky, but because you got committed. Let me ask you tonight, what are you tolerating that you shouldn't be? Where have your standards slipped? What excuses are you still accepting from yourself? Call it out. Write it down. Decide that version of me is no longer in charge. And then, don't just raise the standard, rise to meet it. Because that's where transformation lives. Right there. In the uncomfortable place between what you expect and what you're willing to do. Let me close this out. Don't lower your standards to fit your comfort. Raise your behavior to fit your vision. Hold yourself to a higher code. One that doesn't flinch under pressure. One that doesn't vanish when things get hard. Raise it, match it, live it. And the world? It'll rise to meet you. Because when your standards go up, so does your life. Become so good that you make the hard look easy. Let me tell you what excellence really looks like. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it doesn't need to announce itself. You know what real excellence looks like? It looks easy, not because it is easy, but because the person doing it has become so good, they make it look that way. You ever seen a world-class athlete move, a concert pianist play, a speaker walk on stage, and command the room with a whisper? That's not natural. That's refined. That's not a trick. That's training. You don't get to that level by hoping. You don't get there by winging it. You get there by practicing until your performance becomes instinct. Let me say it like this. Skill at the highest level looks like ease, but don't confuse the outcome with the effort. What you're seeing is mastery, and mastery comes from repetition, from obsession, from discipline. They've done it so many times, the moves are automatic. The decisions are swift. The presence is magnetic. Not because it's easy, but because they earned the right to make it look that way. Now here's the challenge for you. Become so good that your excellence becomes quiet confidence. So good that people don't just hear your words, they feel your weight. So good that you stop needing to convince anyone because your results do the talking. So good that the hard thing, you make it look effortless because you've trained for it. You say, Jim, I'm not there yet. That's okay. Nobody starts there, but you start. You do the reps, you do the reading, you show up when it's boring, you stick with it when nobody's watching. And one day, that thing that used to intimidate you, you walk into it with grace, not because it stopped being hard, but because you got strong. Now let me give you a word of warning. Most people quit too soon. They try something once, twice, maybe 3 times, then say, hey, it's not for me. No, it's not that it's not for you, it's that you haven't become good at it yet. The hard is still visible because you haven't done enough work to make it invisible, and that's okay. But don't stop when it's hard. Keep going until you make it look easy. Excellence isn't the absence of difficulty, it's the mastery of it. You've got to learn to dance with difficulty. You've got to wrestle with repetition. You've got to fall in love with boring consistency, because that's the path to effortless greatness. Let me close with this. Don't aim to just get by. Don't aim to be average. Don't aim to be pretty good. Become exceptional. Become undeniable. Become so good, they can't forget you. They can't ignore you. They can't replace you. And when they ask, how do you make it look so easy? Just smile, because you'll know the truth. It wasn't easy. It was earned.